Welcome to One Brother's Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brother's Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ followers perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with KD Smooth at One Brother's Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming back at you from One Brother's Mind. This is KD Smooth. Coming at you with another report. This one's for the fam, y'all, for the Black family, y'all. We got to talk. We need to talk. I need to talk at y'all. I need to speak at you. I got some things I need to discuss with you on tonight's program. We are going to discuss this issue that you see on your screen. Black students in danger in their schools. We need to talk, fam. Let me say this up front. You know, a lot of us have already recognized this issue and made necessary adjustments for our children, family. But far, far, far too many of us still have not made any adjustments, taken any steps to increase or improve the security and safety for our children. Talking about the Black family, y'all. For our children when it comes to schools. And again, I'm gonna say this until the cows come home. Black family, our kids are not safe in their schools. Get our kids out of their schools. Okay, let me do it like this. To the person that is listening, to the Black person, parent that is listening to this video right now, get your kids out of their schools now. Okay? The purpose of this video is in response to not just what's been going on recently, family, but this has been going on for a good, really forever, to be perfectly honest. It's just that due to the cell phones and being able to record stuff here in the last 5 or 10 years, a whole lot more evidence and information has been coming out that actually has been revealing what's, like I said, has been happening in their schools to our children and students for decades and centuries. Okay? But I'm doing this special report tonight because I really want to focus in. I'm trying to really get y'all, family, to understand how dire this situation is. Okay? Upon your screen, ladies and gentlemen, you see a series of different school incidents and news stories. And if you're listening to this report on your cell phone, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, do your children a favor, do our children a favor. Replay this video, at least the beginning, until you can get to see this screen. Replay it on a larger television or a larger screen, whatever you use, your larger screen, your computer screen or what have you. So you can actually not only see the images, but you can actually read the headlines that are with each image. And sometimes, family, it's you get a whole different perspective when you back up and you look at the forest instead of each tree. Okay, if you just spend your time walking through the forest looking at each tree, oftentimes you really don't get a good perspective as to what is really happening, what's really going on a broader scale. On your screen, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, these are various headlines and news reports from different madness, criminal activity, racist activity that has happened to our kids, y'all, in their school. Okay? And it's many, many more than these, what you see on your screen. I ran out of room, family. It's so bad. And again, this is not new. This has always been happening. We all know this on individual basis, whether it's been something with our children specifically or something with a relative's or a friend's child that has happened. We've known this. But we got to put a stop to this, y'all. Now. We have to put a stop to this stuff now. I mean, just look at some of the headlines. Like I said, if you can't really see them on your phone screen, replay it where you can get to this view, get to this image on a bigger screen so you can really take in and absorb the headlines. Okay? Many of y'all have seen these stories here recently, and I want to make a special point here. All of the stories and headlines that you see on your screen, family, they have all just been reported since January 1st of this year. Okay? These are all new reports. We're only in the middle of February 2022. Look at this. Pause the video if you got to take time. Pause it right here. Take some time to go through and read through each of the headlines that I have added or posted on each of the images. And again, this is just a few. Just a few I got a list of many more reports and instances that have occurred and been reported just since January 1st, 2022. Most of y'all are familiar with most of these, of course, but I'm sure there's been some that you have not been made aware of, that not have come across, however you get your information. But most of y'all remember the story of the teacher that forced the black female student she put her lunch in the trash. She didn't like it, didn't want to eat it. And this teacher came and pulled her lunch literally out of the trash and forced her to eat it. Told her she had to eat it. That story went viral. Okay? But let's look at some of the other stories here. Many of y'all have heard about the story of the black basketball player playing basketball for his school, and during a game, they have other students of one or both of the schools sitting in the stands making monkey noises at him. Okay? Some of y'all also have heard of the story, heard about the story for recently. This just popped a few days ago, but it went viral, of the students, the young elementary students that were forced as a part of Black History Month, doing an assignment for Black History Month. They had to draw pictures of or representations of people in the past, historical representations. And the teacher instructed the students to draw pictures of white people as, manufacturers or business owners or doing some kind of business, what have you. But then when they went to draw, as a part of Black History Month, representations of black people, they were forced by the teacher. She told them and required them to draw only pictures of black people being slaves. Some of the rest of you may have heard of the story of, and it's been multiple ones, y'all. This ain't the first one. This ain't the only one. But a recent story of another white teacher freely using the N-word in class, just blurting it out, offending the black students within her class. That one's to the bottom left corner, y'all. But there's so many more, y'all. This video is hard for me to do, y'all. I'll be totally honest, because as I've said in other videos, and I want to keep on the record, my bail money, y'all, I keep it in the top left corner drawer, top drawer of my dresser. So I'm saying, man, hey, man. Let's look at some of these other headlines. A teacher assaults a special needs student. This little girl with the red glasses toward the bottom. She assaults her, y'all. A teacher. Why? Because the teacher falsely accused and assumed that the little girl had stolen something from her. So, at the end of the school day, this little girl and her brother, which was maybe a couple years older than her, I forget the details. Y'all have to just search them. Just search them on YouTube or Google. They'll pop up. At the end of the school day, her and her brother, they load onto the school bus getting ready to go home. And here comes this, I'm trying not to cuss, y'all. Here comes this school teacher, this white lady. Jump on this school bus, literally, physically grabs this special needs student, this little girl, by the wrist and drags her off the bus violently. So much so that the little girl had bruises and scars on her wrist. And guess what, y'all? Like I said, the little girl did not have whatever it was that this teacher accused her of stealing. Didn't have nothing to do with it. And not only that, but there were other students that were riding the bus that saw this happen. There were the bus drivers that saw this happen. There were the other teachers that were out assisting with the kids loading the buses. Some of them saw this happen. No one called the parents of this little girl and reported what occurred. No one called and reported the marks and bruising and scars on this little girl's wrist. The parent found out and was told once her children arrived home. Thank God this little girl had an older brother that was a couple years older than her. Her older brother and many of the other kids that ride the bus home with her or with them, they all, as soon as they got off the bus, they ran up to the parent and started telling and explaining to the parent what happened to this little girl. That's how the parent found out. Again, I'm not going to go all the way into the story. Y'all got to pull it up, search it. It's all over the place if you haven't seen it already. The point I'm making is there were none of the responsible, required adults that actually took action in regards to the safety, or at the very least, to report what happened to the parent. We got another one, y'all. I'm just going through the headlines on your screen. The young lady, I think she was about 14 years old, or over to the far right bottom corner in the pink sweatsuit, hoodie. This young lady, wow. This young lady was arrested and cuffed. This is a picture of her being arrested with handcuffs at her school by the police. So what did she do? She didn't do nothing. The police came and arrested her, charging her with and accusing her of making violent school threats to the school via social media. I believe it was either Instagram or Twitter, right? They just came and arrested her. They didn't do no real investigation at all. Know how I know? Well, let me pause that. How I know? They arrested her and they put her in juvenile and kept her for 2 weeks. Then guess what they found out, y'all? After this baby was in juvenile by herself for 2 weeks, they discovered, well, wait a minute. Let's look into this social media page and see who actually created. You know, we're going to need that information so when she goes to court and you know, for her hearing, that's good evidence for us to have, right? 2 weeks later, they finally do a little investigation and look into that. And guess what? They found out not only did this young lady not make this post of threats to her school on the social media page, the whole social media page and identity that was used that said or read her name, she didn't even create it. It wasn't even hers. They discovered a whole different student at her school did this to her. Made a page and a social media identity in her name, and then started posting school threats. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. Whew, Lord have mercy. Another headline toward the top of your screen. I know y'all see the young man there with his hair burnt. I'm gonna touch on that in just a second. But the one just above that one, another 14-year-old girl at school was arrested, or let's say, let me get it right, was handcuffed by the police at her school at the direction of the school's principal, which is pictured to the left of the picture, and other staff, which is pictured to the right of the picture. The view that you're seeing the image is from the officer's body camera. That's why you don't see the officer in this image. But she was handcuffed at school as if she had committed some sort of crime. But what she was handcuffed for was because this white principal, and the video is out there, y'all. This white principal was demanding, basically what happened, there was a fight between some other students that happened at the school, and this young lady used her personal cell phone and she recorded some of the fight, or the whole fight, right? But then when it was over, or they were done breaking up the fight, the staff and this principal went head first after this student, trying to tell her that she had to delete the video from her phone. She's breaking some sort of rule, some sort of law. She's gonna get in trouble if she don't delete this video from her phone. Y'all, there is no law, no rule, no nothing. Especially not a criminal act to be handcuffed for recording video in school. Okay? So, this principal just wanted to make up a new law, the old I'm white not say so law. Called the police as if a crime had been committed, which there was none. And the cop showed up, was informed of what had taken place, and instead of the cop going, ma'am, Mr. Principal, that I understand what you're saying, but there's nothing we really can do here because there's no criminal act, no crime has been committed. No. That didn't happen. The white officer came in and actually put this student in handcuffs over this, following the direction of this principal. Look it up, y'all. Research, y'all. Look it up. Get all the details. This happened. Moving on to the next story. Students at another elementary to the far right top corner, they were given a Black History assignment. They good at these, y'all. They good doing these. Of making blackface mask. As you can see, the young lady looks like either a white student or a Hispanic student or something that nature, putting hers on her face. Literally, a blackface mask assignment. This is how we're teaching Black history. Okay? Let's move on to another one, y'all. Y'all see him? Top left corner, very top. This white lady is a teacher. This man with her is her husband. He's actually, I believe, an ex-cop, according to the report that I viewed. Yeah, y'all, that it says exactly what it says. These, they put and laced. She laced some cupcakes that she made for her class with her husband jizz, y'all. Took them to school and had the students eating the cupcakes. Like I said, y'all, my bail money's in the top left drawer of my dresser, you know, for my family, friends. And that ain't even the end of that story. There's all they were arrested and are being charged with a whole list of child sex crimes. Do your research on that story, y'all. Look it up. And for the young man in the picture, that again, I know y'all see it, where half of his side of his head, his hair has been burned off. Somehow, some kind of which way. He's just a student sitting in class minding his own business. He had some long braids in his hair. But another student at a predominantly black school that he attended decided it was a good idea to go up behind him when he wasn't paying attention or didn't notice and start flicking a lighter, a literal cigarette lighter, to his braids, up under his hair. Now, this is at a middle school, family. Not high school, middle school. What in the hell is a middle school student doing with a cigarette lighter at school? That's just one of the questions, y'all. I did a report on this story. It's on One Brother's Mind, the channel here on YouTube. After this video, I did a full breakdown. Go find that story. I'm gonna post it at the end. Links in the screen. You'll be able to click on them and go right to that story as well. Oh my God. I'm not done, y'all. We got two images over to the far left, smaller ones. One has two men in it, a principal and another school administrator. Some students at their school posted some racist TikTok posts on TikTok, right? Most schools, and really all schools, they have a behavior policy that extends even onto social media. But these students posted racist posts on TikTok. And at the time that this story was reported, not one of the students that posted a racist post on TikTok had been suspended, expelled. I mean, no notable consequences whatsoever. At least at the time of this video. And when the report came out, it had been many days, if not over a week or more, when the report finally went viral. And still at that time, nothing, no discipline whatsoever had occurred for the racist students and post a racist video on TikTok. And then, of course, just below those fine white Americans, two more. You got the lady in the blue shirt is the school principal, and the man on the left was a teacher at this school here. The principal actually hired the man on the left as a teacher, even though he had a previous rape charge or conviction, I want to say, on his record. She still gave him a job. This school still gave this man, this rapist, a job at the school as a teacher. Family, guess what happened? Just guess. Yep. He now got charges for trying to rape a 14-year-old student from the school. Then, if you venture your eyes cross toward the middle, there's one of the larger pictures next to the basketball gym picture. You see two black students look like they're trying to grab a hold of in some kind of which way of a white teacher, a white male adult, which was a teacher. And then if you look real closely, the white man is not completely on the ground himself. Why, you ask? Because he's literally on top of another black student. He's literally fighting a black student. This is not securing anything. This is not breaking up a fight. This is not de-escalate. No. None of that. This teacher is going all out, literally fighting A minor in school. And the two black students are trying to pull this. Y'all fill in the blank. Do it for me. I need your help out there anyway. They trying to pull this fool off of and trying to save the student that's on the bottom. And this was at a high school, y'all. Okay. So we're gonna there's so many more. I ran out of room, y'all. On the bottom, the white man at the bottom that's got boy right in the middle of his forehead. It's there because, according to the report, he's like either the athletic director or a coach at a particular school. And he had a regular habit of referring to and calling one of the black athletes that played sports for this school boy. That's what he referred to him as. He didn't, not his name, nothing like that. Not his name. Boy. When he addressed this other student. Also, y'all, another one, as you see, this happy white lady taking her selfie, again, toward the bottom of your screen. This happy white lady taking her a selfie is also the same lady that just was arrested a few days ago for driving a school bus full of kids drunk as a skunk. Yeah, look it up. Search it. Drunk as a skunk. Endangering all, man. Y'all already know. And there's so many more. This is just a few headlines and stories of things that have happened. There's so many more. Family, black people, get our kids out of their school. They are not safe there. They are in danger, imminent danger. They've been in danger. This ain't new. This is the stuff that's been going on. It's just that for most people that these racist, white supremacist things happen to, those parents or those families feel isolated, as if they're alone and it's only happened to them and there's no communication. But now with your cell phones and recordings and social media, all of these truths of these things that are happening are being exposed. And this is just the ones that are being exposed, that somebody recorded, caught, took a picture of or something. This doesn't even include the ones, which is the majority, that no one caught a picture or video recording of. Get our kids out of their schools now. Stop playing, y'all. Our kids are being traumatized in their school. Again, what you see on your screen is just headlines from January 1st to, what's today? This day is February 18th. Mid-February. And there'll be another one reported tomorrow, if not more than one. Get our kids out of their schools. Okay? Now, to be clear, there's only a few of these stories where arrests have been made, but y'all know what they're doing with the majority of them. Oh, we're going to investigate the investigations and make a determination, and we're not going to be able to reveal, due to student privacy, school privacy, any further detail. Why is it, just a side note, y'all, why is it that when everybody else or anybody else commits a crime, they can't wait, they hurry up and start reporting all kind of details, personal details about the person that has allegedly committed a crime? But when it's the government, or when it's the police, or when it's the schools, etc., when it's something that has happened at a so-called company, due to the privacy laws, we're not going to be able to discuss this. We're not going to, we ain't going to tell y'all nothing else. Y'all don't see a problem with that? Well, wait, no. Y'all do see a problem with that, but there's a reason for it, is what I'm getting at. The reason is Satan never wants to be exposed. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Satan never wants to be exposed. But guess what? It's happening, y'all. It's been happening. The 400 years is up, y'all. The lies, the crimes, they're being exposed. Now, am I saying that all white people are bad? No. I'm sure there's plenty of white people that are not racist, or at least they don't speak or say racist things in public. Wink, wink. Or they don't do racist acts that we know of, or at least haven't been caught. Okay? But you can't use an all for anything. That's because you're going to be wrong. That's going to be incorrect, because there are white people that are not racist, that are not white supremacists, that are not insane criminals like the people you see on your screen in these stories. Plenty of white people that are not like that. Okay? So white people, get your draws out of a bunch. But here's the problem, or one of the problems. Every one of these white people associated with these stories and all the others that I couldn't even fit on your screen, they all have family and they all have friends, white family and friends. Guess what's not been happening? And most likely still ain't happening. Their white family and friends who are not racist, who are not white supremacists, have not been or never been checking and putting these monsters in check, calling out their racism. And even better, here's a tip. How about literally exposing their racism publicly before they get a chance to victimize some black kids in these schools. Record them. Go have a conversation with them. They're going to talk freely with you. And then post it. Put it on TikTok. Drop it on there. Wherever. YouTube, wherever. Expose them. I mean, so, again, for a lot of my white listeners, y'all can get y'all draws out of a bunch because y'all done had plenty of time. Y'all have had hundreds of years overall, and individually, you've had all the years of your life that you have been an adult to do this. And in most cases, y'all have chosen not to. Why is that? Care to share? Care to explain that one? I'd be curious to know. Because trust me, you see anyone else doing a crime, especially somebody else, a black person that you even think is doing a crime. That's the first thing y'all gonna do is hey, call the police. Record the video. Let's explore. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Do you live here? Okay, man. That's the first thing y'all go to do. But y'all won't do that to your own peoples. Why is that? Yeah. Miss me with all the bull. So, in addition to the actual things the criminal things that have happened in these stories, ladies and gentlemen, and again, please like, share, subscribe. Please like, share, subscribe to One Brother's Mind. But in addition to the things that actually happened in these stories, in most of these stories, nothing happened to the teacher who committed these crimes or racist, white supremacist acts. At least not until the report or the story was put out through social media and actually went viral. Oh, then the school decides to launch what they're calling an investigation. It's a lie. They investigated what they felt needed to be investigated when whatever happened first happened. And they decided, we ain't doing nothing. We're not doing nothing about this. That's what happened. And then when the story went viral, and all of a sudden the mainstream media or local media and hundreds, if not thousands of other parents are contacting the school. Oh, now that school wants to put out an official general statement, and so-called announce we're looking into or investigating. We have a no tolerance policy against any type of bullying or racist acts here at fill in the blank school. Man, come on. So even if after it goes viral, after they do the second or third investigation, and after they finally decide to maybe suspend the teacher, maybe fire the teacher, after they decide to do that, why is it that none of these principals and other officials at these schools who did the first investigation and decided to do nothing, why do they still have a job? Why are they still working? Why do they still have a license? And an additional point I want to make here, One Brother's Mind family, is the suspensions and firing and all that. That's all trash. That means absolutely nothing. And many of y'all know they fired this teacher here. That person ain't gonna do nothing but go maybe a county or two over, east, west, north, or south from the one they just got fired from. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna get hired as a teacher with their still having their license in a whole new school system. And go on continuing to be racist and do white supremacist criminal acts against black students. Why are they able to do this, y'all? Why isn't when teachers, when they commit a actual criminal offense that's on the books, once they get convicted of that and it's involving a school student, they do get their teacher's license revoked, at least in the state that the crime occurred. But does that stop them from going and acquiring a teacher's license in a completely different state? Uh-oh. Questions. So what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is why these teachers that are found guilty of doing these things, why isn't their teacher's license revoked on a national level? They can't go nowhere in this country and operate legally as a teacher anymore. They can't be a teacher. They can't be a teacher's assistant. They can't be a substitute. Nothing. Not at a school of any kind. Why is that not the law? Somebody explain that to me. And we're not stopping there. These teachers that are convicted of these things, well, let me say, they should be getting not just arrested, but actual criminal convictions and going to jail. Not just arrested, maybe, and they get a little weak bond put on them. They post bail and get gone and maybe have a hearing. Now they got, at worst, a few months of probation or something, and then they can get right on back to their lives right after that. Many times being a teacher all over again, somewhere else. But jail time, convictions and actual jail time. Okay? Get our kids out of their schools now. So family, we have to explore what it is. What is the motivations that we have as black people to enroll our children into their school? Okay? Especially for foundational black Americans, the B1 family. Y'all, why? This is just why. Let me put it like this. Do y'all think for one hot second that Jewish parents would enroll their kids into schools ran by Germans? I'll wait. Did y'all think they would be doing that or would do that? Or for 1 second? So then why do we do it here in the U.S.? What you say? Oh, the old saying, the white man's ice is colder? Is that what you're saying? Because there's really absolutely no excuse, no reason for us to be doing it, family. None. Pretty much in every city throughout this country where we are in decent numbers, there are black charter schools, black church schools, things of that nature that are there operating and available. But yet, we got all of our kids locked up in their schools. Why? Like I said, old saying, white man's ice is a little colder, huh? I mean, okay. Let's talk about it. You know, the general notion is, you know, for y'all know what the history is. First, we couldn't. It was illegal for us to learn to read. Then when that finally moved, y'all know the history. We started learning to read. Their language, their books. Then slowly but surely, we started forming and making our own schools, get-togethers, even just sitting outside in groups on their plantations. And eventually, you know, those situations started moving into old barns and other hand-me-down buildings and so on and so forth. Y'all get what I'm saying. And it progressed to the point to where when black people started moving into a lot of the cities, especially in the north, again, they didn't want our kids in their schools. That was a whole big part of what the whole civil rights movement was supposed to be about. Getting equal opportunity. And in this case, in regards to education. Because the schools, the schools that we had, but they were segregated. And most of the black folk during those times, we need to desegregate the schools. Our kids to get the same education, the same good education as the white kid. Now, don't y'all believe the lie? Not for 1 second. There was a lot of black folks who was like, hell to the no. Don't do this, y'all. We need to just keep working to make our schools better. Our black schools, our black-owned schools. We need to be forcing the government not to put our kids in their schools, but forcing the government to send the full funding needed to fund our schools, the same level of funding that their schools are getting. That's what we need to do. But nah, you had all these black folks breaking their neck trying to get next to be around them. So then you move on into that. They so-called desegregate schools, start making it illegal for the schools to be segregated. So then, what did the majority of the white community do, especially those in power, business, money, and wealth? They started segregating the real estate areas, the neighborhoods, with redlining. And ladies and gentlemen, for the young folks, if y'all don't know what redlining is when you have the banks in a city, as well as all the other mortgage lenders, they actually laid maps of the city down on a table. And they drew boxes or outlines around the neighborhoods where black people lived, where, they did it with like Jewish neighborhoods, they did it with mostly white neighborhoods. But in the black neighborhoods, they drew red lines around these areas and said, we're gonna steer, we're not gonna sell no real estate to anyone white as far as living residences in these black neighborhoods. And these black neighborhoods that we've outlined, we put these red lines around, these are the only neighborhoods when black homeowners come to us looking to buy a home, these are the only neighborhoods we will take them to and show them houses in. That's the real estate agents. Then the bankers was like, okay. They got on code. The bankers was like, okay. Well, every now and then you still gonna have those few stubborn black people. They gonna try to come to the bank or loaning institutions feeling like they qualify for a loan, and they're gonna try to ask for loans to buy property in white neighborhoods, and we're gonna deny every one of those applications. The only ones that we will approve will be for the black neighborhoods. It's the only places that we're going to allow them to buy homes, because we don't want them in our neighborhoods. Redlining, y'all. Now, what does redlining have to do with what's going on in the schools in the past and now? Glad you asked. One, after the government so-called desegregated the schools, with the redlining practice still going on, and in many ways it's still going on to this day, y'all. But with that practice in full swing, they made the rule that you had to send your kids to the public school that was in the school district that you lived in. Well, guess what's extra convenient? All the black people live in just this one neighborhood over here. This little black neighborhood is the only neighborhood that black people are even allowed to buy houses. So guess where all of their kids are going to go to school? That one black neighborhood. You see what they did there? And redlining wasn't just for that purpose. It served a whole plethora of different racist, white supremacist purposes. That's just naming one. So, what that did, again, You got all kind of black people just chomping at the bit, breaking their necks. We can't let them shut us out of their neighborhoods. We can't let them do that, get away with that. We just as good as them. Yeah, you right. You right. I agree with you. So we got to go fight and get the loans and get the approvals and buy the houses in their neighborhood so we can show them. Well, I don't know about that. But that's what a whole bunch of black people is all about. We have to get and buy homes in their neighborhoods, their wealthy neighborhoods, because we going to show them. We're going to prove something to them. I'm not sure what it's really going to prove. And it's probably going to just bring you a whole bunch of problems and headaches from your neighbors, but do you? But another motivation for black people doing that is like, hey, the schools, I have school-age children, and the schools in these white neighborhoods, they're better. Well, why are they better? There's two primary reasons and things that make schools potentially better than other schools. Money and resources. Right? Because if a school has the money and resources that they need to hire good teachers, or what they feel are good teachers, and they have the resources to, present the education in a way that produces high academic standards and performance, great, good school. But guess what happens in the black neighborhood schools and public schools? Somehow they don't really get all the same funding and resources. Magically. At least not for a while they didn't. You can kind of try to argue, well, maybe they do now, more recent history, but as far as the funding, the actual money from the government, it should be, proportionately equal. Should be. But schools get money and funding from two primary sources: the government and property taxes, y'all. Okay? So, in most white areas or neighborhoods or counties or what have you, if y'all haven't noticed or don't know, the property tax, well, let me back up. The properties in most of these nice neighborhoods and areas, the property's value in itself are artificially spiked to have high values. Right? So I used to tell people this, ladies and gentlemen, I used to tell people this all the time. People look at me like I was crazy. Black people this. I was like, what is it if you have a house? So you have a 2,500 square foot ranch house. So you got two of them, both built in the same year, exact same floor plan. But one is located in a predominantly white neighborhood, and the other is located in a predominantly black neighborhood. Why is the house that's located in the predominantly black neighborhood going to be worth at least half or more, and most of the time it's more, less than, it's going to be valued half or more less than the exact same size house in a predominantly white neighborhood? Why is that? Now I've had people argue me, oh, there's a lot of factors that come into play, and you just can't say it's one thing. Bull. It's because they've always, well, let me say this. Since we've had opportunity to live more where we want to live as black people in America, since then, they've instituted, I want to say white people, or you could say wealthy people, which the majority of them in America are white. But however you want to say it, they've also instituted a second level of unspoken discrimination, and that is by using property value. They'll go and start a whole new suburban area, brand new. One with nothing but cornfields and trees, and they're gonna start a new one, right? They start building some housing neighborhoods, some new housing areas and neighborhoods, and after a certain number of units of houses and people moving in, then the next thing they build in that area, they put some gas stations and a school. They build that first new school, and they build it up. And now, but keep in mind, when they build those first few houses, the home builder and the city and all the planning authorities, they get together and decide and or approve the home building company building those houses, as well as what price market or range those new homes are going to be priced in. Now, they'll lie and say it's for all kind of other reasons. No. The number one reason is they're trying to create a living area that is going to sustain and maintain a certain cost of living to live in that area. What this does is it helps the people find that are able to afford that, the wealthy people, which, that got the money, no problem. But what it also does is exclude the people who may not be able to afford the $200,000 houses, the $300,000 houses, and so on and so forth. It excludes everybody else. And you say, well, okay, they're not really doing that. Okay, they built all these houses and everything in this new area. Then, usually it's not long. The area's got nice schools, a lot of nice housing communities new that have popped up, gas stations, little strip malls with all the little fast food places. Everything's brand new and nice. Ooh, this is nice. They landscape the streets, the few streets that are there. They put the little baby trees in, and they do all of this stuff. Then here comes the next one. They go to say, okay, somewhere a company comes in and says, we want to build or construct a set of apartments in this area, because there's a lot of people who may not be able to or be ready to buy a house or be able to afford a house today, but they want to go ahead and live in this area so we can make us a lot of money by just renting apartments in this area. So we're going to build some apartments, and one of the first things that is discussed behind the scenes is show us your plan for the apartment. Now, again, the apartment company, the apartment building company, they're meeting with city officials, city planners, the planners from that new little suburban area. They have to present a whole plan of their apartments and show what they are going to look like and how nice they're going to be. And all that looks good. They ain't really worried about all that. The planners are gonna sit back and they're waiting on one thing. What's gonna be the rent range that you're gonna charge for these apartments? And they're gonna hear that response, and then they're gonna determine whether or not that rental price range is high enough to attract the residents that they want to attract, as well as decentivize. I can't even talk. What is that word? Yeah. Basically, make the people who they don't want to live in that neighborhood not be able to afford even the apartments. I'll get it later. They want the people who can't afford the apartments to not be able to live in those apartments. Y'all know the word I'm trying to say. I'll get it later. That's another way that and another tool that they use to keep excluding people from areas that they don't want black people to live in, jacking up the prices. So then by the time they get done with all this, you got all these different housing communities, apartment buildings and areas, neighborhoods and stuff. The whole area is built up and it's maintained the property value market that the city planners and everybody involved wanted it to maintain. A part of that is the higher or elevated property tax that's being paid by all of those residents in that area. So this area, this new township, this new suburban area is collecting elevated property taxes because the property value in this area was set to be maintained within a certain range or above a certain range. So they're collecting hella property tax. And the schools in those townships, in those suburbs, because so much high property tax is being collected, the schools are benefiting because they're getting and receiving more funding from the property tax. The government's funding for school students has to be spread around to all school districts, supposedly equally or proportionately. But the property tax, which is school's second major source of funding, the property tax is not spread around throughout the city. Even though the state collects it, or the city is collecting it, it's not spread around equally throughout the city. It's kept within those particular townships or counties or suburbs. So it only benefits that high property tax, that major amount of money only benefits the schools in that suburban area, that county. Not all the other schools in the rest of the city. That's why you keep seeing a lot of the public schools in the black communities. Money is a problem, y'all. They're getting their government funding, but they're not collecting property tax funding at the same rate as the suburbs because the property value, or let me say, the property in the black communities is purposely being devalued. Decentralized. I still can't say it. I tried it again. I'm going to leave it alone. But the property value in the black communities, I'm going to get it later. I'm trying one more time later. The property value in the black communities is being devalued. Like I said, when I started, same size house, same floor plan, set it physically in two different neighborhoods. One's going to be worth more than half a higher value than the other. And the only difference is the color of the people who live there. I mean, what makes dirt over here more valuable than dirt over there? And there's a whole lot of high IQ brothers and sisters on here. No, there's more detail to it. It's not that simple. They're making all kind of excuses right now. It is that simple. Miss me with that. So, I mean, these are the main two reasons why schools in the suburbs or these predominantly white schools oftentimes are able to perform better. They have more money, more resources. Okay? But like I just described to you, the whole issue of property value is the same racist concept as redlining. They just change the name a little bit around and how they do it. But, instead of doing it with a red line on a map, they just say, okay, we're just going to jack the price up real high over here. And you can buy a house over here if you can afford it. You can't afford it? Oh, okay. Sorry then. Hey, that's just what it is. And goal accomplished. Do y'all get that? So, because of this, for whatever reason, whether it's redlining, whether it's jacked up property value market, whatever the reason that's had, most of us family, most black people here in America have had the mindset that we need to do everything we can to try to get our kids an opportunity to be able to attend one of their better, higher academically performing schools. Because if our kids, we know our kids will do just fine there and can handle it no problem. But if our kids get that opportunity at that so-called better education, that's going to lead to a lot other opportunities for our kids as they go to our college as well as life. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we really push hard for that, and black families bite the bullet every day trying to move and relocate into these real high acidity areas, into their neighborhoods, especially if they have school-age kids or are planning to have children, because they want their children to have those opportunities. I get it. I'm in the same boat with y'all. But again, there's two options. We can either do that, or we could support, promote, and continue to develop our own schools in our neighborhood. And guess what ain't gonna be happening at our schools in our neighborhoods? Did you guess yet? Look at your screen. All this bullshit, all of this won't be happening at our schools. Now, yes, are there some other issues and things that would still be happening at our schools? Yes, sure, it's a school. But it won't be the racist things, the racist acts, the trauma from those things. Yeah, family, we got to clean up. We got to clean up, in our neighborhoods when it comes to gang violence and all of that stuff, all that craziness. We got to clean that up. I mean, it used to be back in the day, gangsters, there was codes. You don't mess with the school kids. You don't mess with nobody's family on Sunday, especially not their mama. There was code to the game. That's got to come back. So our kids can have a chance Once we clean this internal, we do our internal house cleaning. And it's happened already in many predominantly black schools or all black schools throughout the country. A lot of the charter schools, they've created little bubble environments. Where they're like, hey, we don't play that here. Don't bring that in here. You even think about it, you expelled. Get out. We don't play that here. You just don't tolerate it. That's how you at least start to clear all that stuff out. So, again, you have either choice, family. That's my point. Are you going to continue to fight to put our kids in schools where the stuff that's on your screen, this is what's happening? And worse? Or are we going to wake up? Support. You got black schools right in your town right now. Some of them are doing well. Some of them actually have waiting lists. While others are kind of struggling. Because why? They don't have enough students. They're not getting enough support. Why? Because your kid's over here at the public school and you want to go to the school board meeting or go up to the principal's office arguing, ready to fight when something happened to your child, but you won't enroll your child in the black charter school or all black school that's doing well. Well, they'll be far, far more safer. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, here at One Brother's Mind, that's my main reason as to why I'm a supporter of school choice options, specifically with the funding from the government that each student gets. That needs to be decided by the parents and directed to the school that the student attends. And if a student changes school, that funding needs to go with them to the new school. And not sit there and still be being collected by the school that the student ain't even at no more. Doesn't attend anymore. That's happening too, y'all. So, be clear, this redlining, it obviously was done on purpose. It like I said, it had multiple reasons why it was done. It was the new segregation. They always come up with they just put a spin on it. You know, like I said in some of my other videos, slavery never ended, y'all. They just put a spin on it and enslaved more people instead of freeing people. Come on, y'all gotta wake up to what's really happening. And right quick, I want to say, redlining has a cousin. Yes, redlining has a cousin. It's called redistricting. Many of y'all are aware, but for those that are not, the redistricting, redlining's cousin, is where a lot of the Republican Party or GOP, they're every election cycle, they are redrawing the voting district lines. That's what's called redistricting. It's this shape for this election, and then just when it comes to get ready for time for the next election, they redo it. They redraw those lines, and it changes. It adjusts. One year you're in this voting district because you live here. The next year, you still live where you live, but all of a sudden you're in a whole new voting district. Like, wait a minute, you gotta go vote at a different poll. Why are they doing this, y'all? It's primarily to diffuse and dilute the voting power of the black community, or you want to say minority communities, fine, but primarily the black community. Specifically, If you got a whole solid voting district that's predominantly black, those residents are going to be able to dictate and control basically everything in that voting district because they are the voters there. Right? But if you chop that district up in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different pieces and attach it to surrounding districts where now you have smaller numbers of black voters that are now being thrown in or placed in surrounding voting districts that are predominantly white, now those same black voters no longer have the same voting power that they had when they was all in the concentrated district. That's what redistricting is and is doing. It's primarily to help get elected the people that they want to get elected, especially the Republicans. Okay? But it goes beyond that because, again, the people, the residents in whatever the voting district is, they get to dictate and control with their votes all of the local elected seats in their area and positions. That's a lot of control, y'all. But they keep chopping up, dicing up the black communities in real small pieces to nullify our voting power, especially in regards to the local elections there. It also plays a role in the national elections. Many of y'all know. They got the districts all chopped up and twisted up. Now, all these districts are voting red. This one's red, this one's red, this one's red, this one's red. Yeah, okay. Well, the citizens want the Republicans. No. Y'all took the blue district that was consolidated and chopped it up over the years. And threw 5 black people over here in this one and 5 black people over. Now, though, their votes really don't count because there ain't enough of them. This affects everything, including the schools. What funding they get, what rules the schools have to operate by, what books are in the libraries, the school board, all these things you guys are seeing on these videos and the craziness is happening. All this stuff is affected by the voting district and the redistricting. Okay? So, y'all better, but again, ladies and gentlemen, here at One Brother's Mind, please like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to be thorough on this, family, because we got to get our kids out of their schools. Because when they're doing all these little trickeration games, what's on your screen is what's actually happening to our students. Because they're being, again, do y'all think for a half a second would Jewish parents and families enroll their kids in German schools? Schools ran by Germans. What do you think for a half a second would they do? No? But then, why the hell are we? How are we literally going to sit back? You got, there people, black people sitting here listening to this broadcast right now. They're sitting back arguing. They mad like, oh, it ain't all this and that, it ain't that and this, woo, woo, woo. We need our kids in their schools because they get good opportunities and good education. There's always gonna be some, y'all. But what's crazy is you don't even need all of that. We don't need them. They want to do what they want to do. They way, let them go. Go on ahead, Cletus. Do your thing. Put your kids over there, and we'll shake our heads at the stories that's reported when your kids are being jacked up in their schools. And your kids have gotten traumatized. You know, I'll post a video to help it go viral. I try to help get the word out. I mean, because you're still black. But family, we got to get our kids out of their schools. They are not safe there. So again, here at One Brother's Mind, we try to talk about solutions. We try to focus on solutions for the B1 family. Right off the top, if your child is still currently enrolled in a predominantly white school, there are predominantly black schools that are actually performing and doing well academically, that are maintaining high academic standards in your city. They're there. There's schools at churches have just black charter schools. They're there, y'all. You have to do your research. In most of our cities, they're there. Okay? Those are two solutions. It's going to come with a cost or a sacrifice. A lot of these charter schools and smaller schools like this, they don't have full bus transportation programs or options. So if you enroll your student, you're going to have to provide the transportation to and from school. Okay? Then another solution option, there's the whole option of outside of the charter schools, which you now see a representation of that on your screen. They're nice, y'all. They're nice. They're out there, like I said. But there's the whole option of homeschool. Family, we can homeschool our children. There's software programs, and as far as educational program software that's available, that's not very expensive, that you literally can provide your child a daily school assignments and all of that pending their grade level, and literally have your child doing school at home, homeschool. And these programs, most of them are set up to be in accordance and in line with the state educational standards, so that if and as your child completes these grade levels in the homeschooling software options, they are fully prepared and capable of passing the state exam, the required state exam. So it's not like your child academically is going to get behind or fail. You just make sure you get one that's specifically designed and aligned to do that. Okay. Other solutions. If none of those, float your boat, family, I got another one for you. At the very least, and many of y'all already have figured this out, because I'm on this. I have a student that's still in high school that's doing this too. As soon as the predator hit, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, here at One Brother's Mind, we don't use those C words and V words here. We call this thing we've been fighting, and it's been going on the last 2 years or so, we call it the predator. Okay? So ever since the predator really came out and hit hard and started taking a whole lot of people out, they started the virtual school options. Like I said, many of y'all, myself included, we're taking advantage of those opportunities, and you're learning a whole lot more about the school that your child is enrolled in, and the teachers and the lessons. Why? Because for many of us, you're actually able to sit there with them or be off just to the side listening. And there's been a whole gang of craziness revealed because of that. But The one good piece about the virtual school option is your child is physically at home, safe with you. They're not vulnerable somewhere else, locked inside a makeshift prison, talking about it's a school. So I encourage all black people here in America, even when the predator, so-called, when they lie and say the predator is all gone, everything going back to normal, y'all come on back to school, say no. Say hell no. Black parents, keep the virtual option open. Don't want my kid to be physically at your school no more, ever again. They're not safe there. Why? Because of the stuff you see on your screen. They're not safe. So, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to go ahead, keep my child right here at home with me. They can log in and do their classwork just like they've been doing. Matter of fact, they're doing even better because they don't have all the distractions and craziness going on that's in your school. All right? And if your school district, because a lot of them are going to do it, they're going to say, oh, we're not doing virtual. We're not offering that anymore. Find the ones that are and transfer your child to the school districts that are still doing virtual and going to keep it virtual available. That's how you do that. Okay? Homeschool your children. You don't have all the distractions. They're getting one-on-one education. Now, here comes it. All right, here all y'all. How you going to do all that and work? Well, family, that's one of the benefits from having a two-parent home or being married. Remember that? That old way of doing things, you know? Ladies, y'all remember that? You know? When married couples used to do it together and make sure that they lived and spoke respectfully to each other. Not with all this snazzy, spicy stuff that's going on now. It's coming from people that keeps people from being able to function and live together. And I'm biased. I'm biased as all get out. Don't. A lot of ladies are sitting back. Nuh-uh, you bet not. I know you ain't pointing the finger. Nope, I'm pointing my thumbs at me and all the rest of my fingers at y'all. That's what I'm doing. I'm hand clapping real slow. All the rest of my fingers is pointed at y'all. But anyway, I ain't going down that road right now. But like I said, you know, there are options. Continue the virtual option, no matter what. If you can't find no other school option, at least your child is physically safe. But that leads us, family, we have to move forward and push forward to creating more of our own schools, more of our own black charter schools. Now, recently, in the last 5-10 years or so, there's been, more of them being created, but we need more. We need more. We need all the black kids out of their schools. I mean, all of them. They're being lied to. At the very least, if nothing, none of the headline stuff is happening. If none of the headline stuff is happening, right? Let's say that. Let's say none of the headline stuff is happening. They're still being lied to and misinformed and miseducated. That's still happening. That's bad enough. That's bad enough. got to get our kids out there for them to have opportunity at college and succeeding or going into some sort of trade. They got to get better educational opportunities. And most of the time, they're not getting them where they're not safe. Okay, family? So, we got to create, like I said, we got to create more of our own schools. There's a lot of, I know LeBron's he started a school in Cleveland in this area and it's doing well. I know Jalen Rose started a school, but it's not easy for them because why? We're not fully supporting them in this endeavor and the funding, you know. And I'm the first person to not try to tell somebody that's got more money to what to do with their money. But we got plenty of overall money in the black community to build, fund, and maintain all of the black schools we need for all the black kids. We got plenty. It's just that, unfortunately, a lot of black people who came from nothing, one of the first things they do when they so-called make it and they get into some real wealth, not rich, wealth, generational wealth. One of the first things they start doing, they start writing $1 million checks, multi-million-dollar checks to their PWI college they graduated from. Or some, you know, it's like, really? Really? Why is that the first thing where you go put millions of dollars at? Why is it not at black charter local schools or like LeBron or Jalen Rose? And there's some others. I'm not saying that those two are the only one. There's some others out there. Excuse me. But why are we not building more schools of ours that we control? That we can ensure safety and ensure that our kids are being educated with the truth. You know, you got this whole CRT thing going around. They breaking their neck trying to rewrite history again. Well, you ain't got to worry about that if our kids are enrolled in our schools. Our kids are getting it. Then the only problem is we got to say, okay, from the time you leave school to the time you get home, keep your head on a swivel. Because them peoples out there is crazy. They're savages. Many of them. Don't trust them. As P.E. said. Can't trust them. You know? So, and then one additional note, family, for a lot of the black schools, black charter schools and whatnot that are doing well. And young black college students that are looking for a field to go into in college. Family, we need a lot more of black special needs teachers. Okay? We need special needs teachers because most of our charter schools and black schools that currently exist, they don't have option or an option, not one, for black special needs students at their school. They got the physical room. There's just not enough black special needs teachers primarily. So just to drop that nugget on some of y'all, a lot of us, we're either directly or indirectly touched by a special needs family member, a child. They need schools too, y'all. They need teachers too. In black school. Okay? Like I said, but you know, some of y'all listening is like, man, I ain't no black charter schools around me. Well, here's the question. Did you move into or relocate to one of them suburban areas, chasing after the white man's ice? Because you ain't going to find the black charter schools out in them areas. For sure, I agree with you. That's the other thing that a lot of black people are doing and have done over the last 15, 20 years. You got a lot of, especially young black people, they say they grow up in this city or this county. It's kind of smaller area, or just a different city and county, and they'll decide or get a job offer or whatever out of college, and they're going to relocate into a new city, right? Or a bigger city, right? And there's a lot of black people in that city, but remember the redlining and all that stuff? The black people live on like one side of town or the other, or they live in certain pocket areas, right? There's reasons for that, y'all, right? Now, what'll happen is you got the young black people, black couples, or whatever, they'll say, I want to move, we're moving into this city, this looks great and all this. But what they fail to do is not only ask and seek out other black people in that city who actually were born in that city and grew up in that city. They don't seek them out to ask them, hey, I'm looking at moving in this new suburban area over here in city A. Is this a good area for black people to move into? Because 9 times out of 10, the black people that grew up in that city, that's been there their whole lives, they're gonna say, what? That's way over. Oh, nah, bruh. That ain't what's up. That ain't what you want. So a whole lot of black families and young people are moving into these areas because they've not asked or not even heeded to the residents that know the city areas, been there their whole lives, grew up there. They won't listen. So they'll move into these suburban areas. Remember the ones that told y'all to keep jacking up the price? Hey, they just got out of college. They got a good job. They got good jobs. One's a doctor, one's a lawyer, whatever. And they move out in these areas. And if they don't pretty quickly start having and experiencing racist problems themselves, guess what happens? Guess what happens? The schools, their kids at the schools. The kids at the schools start. And you get all this stuff that's on your screen right now. Start happening out in these suburban school areas. Okay? And then we need what we're going to do. What can I do? Well, you first mistake was you went and moved out there. You should have moved more closer to the black neighborhood. So at least you got the choice or the option. So if something don't feel right for you or your kids over there, you can just quickly adjust and move your kids back into the black schools or be closer and have access to black charter schools and things that are in the city. But you know, can't tell hard-headed people nothing, right? So that's just one of the many other things that we as black people are doing, and it's actually we're doing a disservice to ourselves. I know for myself, I'm not, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just on here spitting a bunch of hot air. I went through this whole process myself with my children. You know, if you check out some of my other videos when I'm talking about education and whatnot, especially the video on how blacks can graduate college debt free. I go into my story with my child and who's in college now, but how I had to change her schools because the public schools weren't teaching her nothing. They were jacked up. I'm not going to go into the details, but I took my daughter out of the public school system in the 4th grade. I would have taken her out sooner, but I was going through a divorce and custody battle before that, and I wasn't legally able to. But as soon the gay I was, come on, I got her up out of them schools. And I moved her into a black charter school that I found in my area. And I'm in, KD Smooth, y'all, is in Naptown, Indianapolis. This is where I reside. You know, I found one that had recently been given academic awards for the city as like the top academic school in the city, stuff like the county, things like that. I'm like, wait, what? I went and checked the school out. School was off the chain. I hurried up and moved my daughter into that charter school. And that charter school, in the years that my daughter spent there, actually made my daughter a much better academic student that propelled her to where she is now in college. If she had stayed in the public school, oh my God, college would most likely not be an option. Not that it was her fault or that she's not intelligent, but she would not be prepared for it. A lot of these public schools, even in the black communities, they're not academically preparing our kids. That's why a lot of the colleges, they got these, I don't know, whatever they want to call them, these little extra year programs for a lot of students that come out of the public school system. They have to basically, finally, have those students take college or near college level classes. It's like remedial classes to try to get them up to speed and prepared for the actual college level classes. And a lot of our students can't handle that. They like, do anybody got time to do all this homework? And man, y'all tripping. That's too much. I'm writing too much. I'm good. I mean, really? But it's because they ain't been prepared. So they get into these programs and they struggle. And don't nobody want to struggle that bad. So again, y'all, search out these black charter schools, do your research on them, find out how are they performing academically in comparison to the top other academic schools in your city. Oftentimes, y'all gonna be surprised. Especially the ones that a lot of black people say, oh, don't nobody want to put my kids over there. They that might as well be a military school. The way they got uniforms and everything. Really? And you got schools right in your area that are outperforming most of the other schools in your area, and you won't enroll your black child in these schools because they have standards. They require respect and good behavior. Really? This is. I heard it all. Because a lot of these black charter schools, they don't play. And family, just between us, some of us ain't got our kids in check. Our kids have major behavior problems in the public schools where they at. They've been having behavior problems for a while because you ain't stepped your parenting game up, primarily. Then they get kicked out of the public school, you go try to enroll them in the little public charter school, and the charter school actually got standards, whatever, they only there a couple of days, and they talk about you expelled. What did they do? They did this, they did that, or whatever. They chewing gum in class, cussed the teacher, and we don't tolerate none of that stuff. All of that is expulsion. I know that was one of the things when I looked through the charter school handbook for the black charter school that I enrolled my daughter in. Pretty much everything that was a rule violation, the punishment was expulsion. And I loved, when I read that, I was like, yes, it was immediate expulsion. Get out. We ain't tolerating putting up with nothing. You read through this book, you know the rules. Don't break none of them. period. Again, that's how you clean a lot of this crazy distraction stuff that's going on in our schools. You got to clean this stuff up. Now, in a lot of predominantly white schools, they don't really go that hard on the discipline and behavior issue. You know, and they have their reasons for not doing that, and that's fine. Some of them are scared, especially of trying to be that way with minorities, because some of them do it in a right manner, but too many of them, it turns into something else, something criminal, like the headlines on the screen. But anyway, but black charter schools and black men and women teachers or whatever, they know how to communicate, how to require respect, demand it, and get it, or you're gone. Okay? So, family, y'all got to go check those out. Get our kids. Look at the headline. I'm going to put it back up. I'm going to put it back up. Look at the headline. Just look at them. Look at them. Read them. Y'all done read the stories. Now, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, once again, please like, share, and subscribe. Please smash the share on all your social media platforms. We're trying to help us grow this channel here. I'm trying to provide solutions and information for the black community primarily. That's where we get our B1 focus, but it could be for anybody. And hey, to my white brothers and sisters, y'all got y'all kids in these public school systems that are trash too. Stuff's happening to them too. I did a story not too long ago. One girl beat the brakes off this other girl while she was sitting in her desk, gave her a concussion and knocked her out. Just kept beating her. I mean, so it ain't just only happening to black students. It's happening to a lot of school-age kids. Y'all hear about high-performing, high-academic black vocational schools? They don't discriminate. You can roll your child in there too. Especially if you want your child to get a real, honest, and truthful and factual education in regards to this country and its history. Uh-oh. But you ain't thought of that one. So they don't discriminate as far as that goes, and neither do I. Get your child in the schools that give them the best academic possibilities and options, while at the same time they have the highest level of standard of safety that's being maintained. Okay? Now, again, get our kids out of their schools. Because literally, I mean, if you follow a lot of y'all want to say, well, you know, I've had discussions with people. They say, well, you just got to fix the schools and make the schools better and that type of stuff. Okay. Well, in general, what does white people do when they run up against a situation that they feel that they are being victimized by in some way or another? There's only two options. They either attack it or they leave it alone. Y'all seen that all over the news. Whether it be various different protests, they go and attack it. They've been attacking the school boards. They go at them. No holds barred. They doing everything. Crazy. Right? A lot of black parents say, we ain't trying to do that, because they can get away with that. They're going to try to come arrest us, lock us up in jail. Okay, well then, what's the other option? They leave. They get their students and they take them out of these schools and they put them in schools that are better, or at least that they feel are better, which is exactly what I've been saying this whole broadcast. Y'all, get our kids out of their schools, find black charter schools that are performing well, and roll our kids in those schools, especially during the elementary and middle school years, y'all. It's those years that mold and shape our students into being good students, having good study habits, being high academic performers. You can't do that in the sophomore year of high school and think, they're going to become all of a sudden overnight a better student and do better academically. 9 times 10, that's not going to happen because you waited too late. Do this during elementary and early middle school. Okay? That's when you do this. So make the move now. Again, I ask, would Jewish parents enroll their kids in schools that were ran by Germans? So why do we? Oh, I forgot. Mr. Charlie Ice is colder, right? Stop, y'all. Just look at your screen, man. Just stop this. Our kids are being traumatized. At the very least, they're being traumatized. Okay. Let's y'all let me know what y'all think. How y'all feel about this issue? Let's chop it up in the comments. Most of the areas where we live, there are other options. And if there's not, at least you can do the virtual option. And I know you gotta work. Look into changing your work shift. Or maybe if that's not an option at where you work currently, you might need to get a different job somewhere else so you have the option to adjust your work shift. I mean, think about it. Let's say you work somewhere and they only got day shift right now, and that's where you work, right? And your child is in school, so you can't do homeschooling or virtual option. Your child is 12 years old or younger. It seems like there's no option. Let's say that. Well, if something happens to your child, like the stuff you see on your screen, are you going to then say it would have been better if I would have rather had went and got me another job where I can work a second shift or a third shift if it's just me in the household and I got to maintain my income? Go find me another job where I can work the opposite shift, and at the very least, then I can stay home and be home with my child while they do their virtual classes. Would that be worth it versus the stuff that's on your screen happening to your child? Right. So don't wait. Make it happen. We do the things that we value. We do those things. If you're not doing it, you don't value enough. I don't know if it's you don't value your child enough, you don't value their safety enough, or what it is that you ain't valuing, seeing enough value in making these adjustments in your life. Most of y'all can't say, it's hard to find another job. No. Not right now. Everybody hiring. You'll find a job like in a few days. If you really look, just walk up the street. Just walk up the street. Just walk. Bam. Drop in 4-5 applications. You'll have another job within a week. Everybody's hiring. So you can't use that excuse. Okay, y'all. Again, let me know. Let's chop it up in the comments. I didn't plan to go this long, but, ooh, Lord. We got to get our kids out of their school now. And this concludes this broadcast for One Brother's Mind. We thank you for joining us. And as a part of the New Black Media, B1 choices are mandatory, and being on code is required. So never fear. Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.